Welcome to Mr. Foy's Easel. Let me show you the topic for today. Actually, it's weather, and I'm going to be drawing some cartoon characters responding to various kinds of weather, beginning with heat and then going down through the list here, cold, rain, and wind. So here we go, starting out with heat. Let me get the sun shining one really hot day in midsummer, and let's see how one citizen is feeling about that. Now you can tell already that he's not feeling too good. See the sweat? Well, what's he doing that makes him so miserable? Well, one of those summer chores that had to be done, he's mowing the grass. You can tell he's been at it for a while because, first of all, he's looks so tired and hot, and then he seems to be moving pretty slow. So that's how this particular fellow is feeling the heat. I won't try to color the whole thing, but I think I ought to emphasize that old summer sun and maybe a little bit of red in the face. Now, what about a really cold day several months after this? Not the same guy, I understand, but, well, let me start with a mailbox. Not the one on the porch, but the one that you have to go out to the driveway. It looks like snow on there, doesn't it? Well, the snow is pretty deep. And here we have a not too happy soul. Looks a lot like this fellow. He's, instead of having a summer cap on, he's got one that has ear flaps, and he's breathing some cold air there, and he's trudging through the snow. He's got his boots on, got a big jacket on. Coming from the house, which has got icicles hanging down and snow along the windows and on the evergreen tree outside. Obviously, this is kind of weather which in some cases presents a rather miserable situation. In cartoons, as I've told you many times before, we often put a little blue hinge on snowy surface. Okay, that's heat and cold, and the next category of weather is rain. Well, here's a lady that went shopping. First of all, she didn't find what she was looking for, so she's more or less empty-handed. She's going on her way to the car out in the parking lot of the mall, and guess what? It's raining. You can tell it's raining, among other things, by the water that's splashing up from her feet. But now in cartoons, rain is generally shown like this. Lots of rain isn't blue, but many times, at least in the Sunday funnies, why rain is shown with a lot of streaky lines like that, not to mention puddles, as I've shown you. And anyway, look at her hair and look at the downturned mouth. And it's been a rough time. Maybe tomorrow it won't be so bad and she'll go back looking for sales. Well, the fourth category of weather conditions is wind. Okay, here's a fellow he's an old-fashioned guy, kind of fellow that wears a hat. But here he is, look at his hair is blowing like that. And what's he chasing? He's chasing his hat, which blew off his head. Now, wind is shown a lot of times with lines like that, and not only does the guy's hat fall off, but here comes a garbage can and some newspapers and no telling what else. Not a very happy situation, maybe not as bad as the snow and the rain. Anyway, let's take a break, and after the break we'll look further at these categories of weather and how people respond to them.
Home security is now available through Conway Corp. It's an advanced solution backed by people you know and trust. Customize your system with motion detectors, sensors, light controls, and more, all managed from your wireless touchscreen or mobile phone. It's an easy way to protect the things that matter and the ones who matter most. It's safety for you, powered by Conway Corp.
We're back, okay, and we start out as before talking about a hot day. Well, hot days are bad sometimes, but they don't bother this chap that much. I'll show you what I mean. Here's a little guy during summer vacation. And here's what he's doing. Well, you know what that is? That's supposed to be a diving board. So he's jumping into the pool here, and over here you can see the little ladder that leads down to the pool. And he might be saying whee, and he may have some buddies down here. He's at the local YMCA or somewhere like that. And I might point out that oftentimes we show not just rain or snow, but water in a pool with a blue hue. I'll give him some blue trunks. So even though summertime can be pretty rough, as I showed you at the beginning, well, for this little fellow, it's fun times, at least during his pool session. So there's a reaction to the heat, quite different from the lawn mowing fellow we started out with. Well, now what about the cold? Let's show this fellow's cousin, who not from here in Arkansas, but he's a cousin from, let's say, Minnesota. And it's cold up there in the winter. It's like it is many other places. And he's got his cold weather cap on and his sweater. He even got a scarf, which is kind of blowing in the breeze. And what's he up to? Let's see here. Oh, he's on a sled. You know. And these are motion lines and cartoons. And looks like he's moving pretty fast over a snowy hill. Let's give him a red sweater and maybe kind of a rosy cheeks, which the cold weather provides. So we've got two of these categories, and the third one is rain. Okay, I'm going to start out with a smiley face here. This is not a child, this is an adult. And he's holding his hands out like this. He's a farmer, and he's living in an area where there's been quite a drought. So you know what's coming now, don't you? A good strong rain, and instead of running for cover, he's so glad to see it after a long drought that he's just standing out there enjoying it. I'm sure many of you have watched movies where at the end of a drought, the people are content just to stand out in the rain and be thankful that it has finally come. So think of these positive reactions to heat, cold, and rain. And finally, we have the wind. Up here, the poor guy's losing his hat, and he might be hit by a garbage can before it's over. Well, let's see another different reaction to the wind. Going back to a kid, a happy kid, just like the first two I drew on this line. And he's outside on a windy day, perhaps in March. And the wind is picking up. And that's a good thing too, as far as he's concerned, because it looks like he's going to get that kite going up in a strong March gust of wind. So you see, everybody talks about the weather and complains about it, but sometimes people have a positive attitude to whatever conditions prevail. Well, that's all of our time today. Remember, you can contact Mr. Forrest Easel at conwaycorp.com.